All right, let's get right into it. We make hundreds of decisions every single day, but how many of them do we actually make well? Today, we're going to break down how to stop just making decisions and start building a real, reliable skill out of it.
I mean, think about it for a second. Have you ever been up at night just staring at the ceiling, replaying some big decision over and over, wondering, did I make the right call? That feeling, that knot in your stomach, we all know it. But it absolutely doesn't have to be the default.
And here's why. Making great decisions isn't some kind of magic talent that you're either born with or you're not. Nope. It's a skill. And just like any other skill, with the right framework and a little bit of practice, you can get better. I mean, a lot better.
So how do we actually do that? Well, we're going to walk through a simple three-phase framework. Think of it like a flywheel, a system where each part builds momentum for the next. And it all starts with phase one, prepare and analyze. This is about laying down a super solid foundation before you even think about making the final call.
This foundation is built on three key pillars. First up, you need clarity of purpose. You have to ask, what problem am I really trying to solve here? Second, you've got to gather information, the right information, not just a mountain of data. And third, and this one is so important, you have to challenge your own thinking right from the get-go.
Let's stick with that first pillar for a second, clarity. There's this quote that just nails it. A clear purpose acts as a guiding star. It's so true. Without it, you're basically trying to navigate a ship in the dark with no compass. Getting this first step right is completely non-negotiable. Okay, once you have that guiding star, you need the right tool to actually analyze the situation. Here are two really powerful ones. A SWOT analysis, that's your go-to for the big picture stuff, thinking strategically about where you stand. But when the decision comes down to dollars and cents, a cost-benefit analysis is what you need. The trick is always picking the right tool for the job you're facing.
All that prep work we just talked about, it flows perfectly into phase two, create and commit. We've built our foundation, and now it's time to turn all that insight into actual, decisive action.
This is where the rubber really meets the road. It's about brainstorming creative options, not just grabbing the first easy one. It's about being really honest with yourself and recognizing when your own feelings or biases might be getting in the way. And then, finally, it's about executing your decision with a real plan.
So how do you come up with better options? Okay, you have to try this technique. It's called brainwriting. Instead of a loud, chaotic brainstorm where the same people always talk, everyone writes their ideas down, passes them along, and then builds on what their colleague wrote. It's brilliant because it gives everyone a voice, not just the loudest person in the room.
Now, let's talk about one of the biggest decision killers out there, bias. Specifically, confirmation bias. This is our natural human tendency to look for information that proves what we already believe. We all do it. The only way to fight it is with a clear counter strategy. You have to actively go looking for people and information that disagree with you. It feels weird, but it's the secret to staying objective.
And please, remember this. A great decision is completely useless without great execution. A choice isn't really made until you have a concrete plan. Who is doing what and by when? Answering those simple questions is what turns a wish into a decision.
This brings us to our final phase, and honestly, it might be the most powerful one. We're calling it the growth engine. Reflect and improve. This isn't just a final step. It's the thing that fuels the entire flywheel and makes sure you're getting better with every single choice you make. So what's the fuel for this engine? It comes from a really simple but powerful idea: reviewing your outcomes. You have to be willing to look back with total honesty and ask, okay, what actually worked here and what totally didn't? If you skip this part, you're not learning, which means you're probably just going to make the same mistakes all over again. And this right here, this is the whole point. Reflection isn't about beating yourself up over the past. It's about creating high-octane fuel for the future. Every lesson you learn from one decision becomes the starting advantage for your next one. That is how you build momentum. That's how you achieve real excellence.
Okay, so that's the big framework. Now let's make it super practical. Let's put together a toolkit you can literally start using today.
Think of this as your quick cheat sheet. Before you decide anything, define what a win actually looks like. Next, give yourself a deadline so you don't get stuck in that analysis paralysis trap. Take a breath and do a quick gut check for bias. And finally, talk to the people who are actually going to be affected by the outcome. 4 simple habits that will change the game.
Now, if you're only going to try one thing from this whole discussion, make it this. For the next 2 weeks, start a simple decision journal. Anytime you have a meaningful choice to make, just write down what you're trying to achieve, what your options were, and what eventually happened.
I promise you, this single habit is the fastest way to start seeing the patterns in your own thinking.
So that's the whole framework. You have the model, you have the tools. The only question left is, what's the first decision you're going to improve using what you just learned?